good afternoon, and welcome to Live Impact News right here on 13 News Now Plus. It is 1:01 p.m. on December 9th. It is a Tuesday, and we are here for 2 hours of all of the most impactful, most breaking news here in our area, nationally and globally. Now, yesterday was a marathon. We went all the way up until 4 o'clock p.m. yesterday. We got so close to the 4 p.m. show that Nia Campbell ended up closing the show out for us. So now I will introduce People's producer / co-host Nia Campbell to Live Impact News today. Nia, what's going on?
You're just putting more and more titles on me.
Because I know that means that you will be hopping on the microphone more often when I start rambling off into nowhere, which I do occasionally. And so it'll just be more, it just makes my job easier,
If
you know?
the viewers say, we love hearing from her,
Yeah.
then I'll come on the mic more.
Oh, now we're about to be flooded with emails. You know we are. And thank you so much for stepping in to close that out yesterday. Thank you for all of the excellent production every day. And a huge shout out to our whole weather team and all of our reporters yesterday. What turned into a significant winter storm here in Hampton Roads. The Menchville area getting, the last report I saw from Tim Pandages, 6.9 inches of snow. Up on the peninsula, multiple areas with significant snowfall. Even in Suffolk, even in Norfolk, we had those wintry mixes that really even became snow flurries. And then on into Virginia Beach, where we had consistent cold, wintry mix to rain throughout the area, and snow in some parts of Virginia Beach, even as Tim Pandages, our chief meteorologist, told us. He lives in the Virginia Beach area, and his house actually did have snow. Even closer to the ocean front, it was much more of that cold rain. But a significant weather day, and we're actually going to have meteorologist Taylor Stephenson in here in a very short period of time to tell us about sort of what we're looking forward to today, and with a little bit of a recap of yesterday and this morning. For now, let's look around our area. We spent a lot of time doing this yesterday while we kind of broke down the progress of the weather. Today, we're going to see something much different, which is clear skies in a number of different places as I kind of survey the wall here. Can we first go to the Nauticus Cam, Nia, if possible, because Nauticus is right next to downtown Norfolk. It's right next to Waterside. And yesterday, we tuned into that camera and we did see snow flurries. Let's take a look at what we've got out there today, and a beautiful shot of Nauticus out there today. I mean, clear skies, the sun beaming down. You can see kind of in the foreground of our screen, sort of creating a great effect, bouncing off the building right there with the sunlight. And again, just the difference from yesterday. Another place where I would like to go, if we can, is perhaps the Jordan Bridge, Nia. The Jordan Bridge presenting an especially clear scene for us here compared to yesterday. As again, there are some clouds in the sky, but there's also a lot of clear blue sky up there that we can see. We see a boat peacefully floating through the water there. We see cars going about their business in the background. And we've really rounded into a cold, but still a much more clear day outside, a much more calm day outside compared to everything that we saw yesterday. Let's head to the ocean front, Nia. Let's do Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach yesterday, we hardly got a clean look at it because the lens was covered with precipitation for almost the entirety of our time on air. Now, what you'll notice in Virginia Beach is a lot more cloud coverage, but not nearly as much precipitation. I'll tell you what we do see, Nia, that I would guess is from the wind, is look at the sand up on the boardwalk there. If you look to the left side of the screen on the boardwalk, a good amount of sand, and that's right over by where the staircase is. Mm-hmm. My guess would be the intense winds blew that sand right up onto the boardwalk there. So no shortage of effects that we're seeing still from yesterday's storm. And can we do a wave check? Nia Campbell wave check. You were keeping us posted on the surf yesterday. What are you seeing from the waves today? Calmer, but still active, huh?
Yeah, a lot more calm.
definitely more calm, but definitely, the ocean is still moving, but a much more peaceful day at the ocean front. And then last but not least, let's go to that Newport News City Center area. This is the area where we truly got a sense, and there you see actually quite a bit of snow still on the ground. And that tracks with everything that we saw yesterday, because this was the image yesterday that we routinely went back to show some of the most intense effects of the snowfall, because it was this image that over the course of an hour, 45 minutes, we saw it go from green grounds and clear roads to a complete and total winter wonderland situation, especially with that tree right in the middle. It picked up, it snowed heavily, and it just immediately, everything became covered. And as you can tell, still the case. It doesn't look like there's any issues with the roads over there, but when you look at that grassy area right next to the pond, when you look at the roof of the green building to the left, you can certainly still see a good amount of snow out there in Newport News. So that is a look around.
Also Hampton.
This is also Hampton, and I do believe
cameras.
that's the same green building that we saw over on from the other viewpoint.
You think so? I think this is the carousel.
That's the carousel.
Oh, this is a different. Oh, see the green building over there? Those are remarkably similar roofs. That is my fault. I didn't know we had so many. You like how I pronounce roofs? Is it roofs? Roofs. Okay, that's and now Taylor Stephenson in here laughing at me. This was terrible. This is terrible timing. Terrible timing for us to get multiple roofs in view here. But yes, okay. Well, go ahead, Nia. Tell us what we see a little bit here. I'm going to try to recover my voice here a little bit. What are we seeing in this image?
Oh no, I was just gonna say we didn't have this camera up yesterday, so it's nice to see the Hampton shot now with the snow still on the roof.
Oh, that camera was down entirely yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes a ton of sense, and you wonder if it was down because of the elements themselves.
No. I
No.
don't think that's why.
Okay, so but it clearly a place where we did see a lot of snowfall. The surface of all of these buildings just still covered with snow, especially that green one right in front there, and there you can see the water tower in the background, which should have been a clear landmarker for me. But I just jumped the gun with that green roof.
I see where you were going.
You see where I was headed? Okay, thank you. And you guys already know, because it was mentioned, that Taylor Stephenson walked into the studio just in time as we were going through some of our various spots around here in Hampton Roads talking about the weather. Taylor, do you need a couple minutes to get ready, or are you good to go?
I'm good to go.
Okay, Taylor Stephenson in the house. Taylor, I first just want to ask, an overview of yesterday before we move on to today. Give us a little bit of a summary of what we saw and sort of how it compared to what you guys were anticipating.
Okay, so let's talk about what we saw first, and then we can talk, and like you said, we can compare it to what we actually predicted. Okay, so snowfall totals, let's get into them. Some of them not as impressive, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens, right? So let's talk about some snowfall totals here across our area. So snow reports for us here in Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. We have some big totals. These are the highest totals we've seen. Minchville, you almost got 7 inches of snowfall.
Wow.
Denby, just less than 6. White Marsh, that's in Gloucester, 4.5 inches. Beaconsdale, that's also in Newport News, 3.5. But you can see the big difference between where you in Newport News across the area. It was very, very different, right? And then you get into Kilby and Suffolk, and we also had 3 inches of snowfall. Let's talk about another few areas. Here's a look at Wakefield, Toano, Bayview, Rushmere, and Poquoson. And you can see here in Wakefield, 6.5 inches. That's in Sussex County. Now, what makes that so fun is that that's where the Weather Service is located. So I'm sure those meteorologists had a big snow day. I'm sure they had a great time there in Sussex County. Toano, that's in James City County. You can see 4.5 inches. Same with Bayview in Northampton County. Same with Rushmere and Isle of Wight. Poquoson, just under 4 inches. Now let's talk about places around the south side. This may be the most disappointing numbers. Norfolk International Airport, only got half an inch of snowfall. Some places in Norfolk got up to an inch. It really wasn't much. But in places around Virginia Beach, Princess Anne got an inch of snowfall. Greenbrier got almost 2. Western Branch and Greenbrier both in Chesapeake near 2 inches, and then Great Neck got 2 inches. So it really depended on where you were. If you saw just a dusting, or you saw maybe 1 to 3 inches, or if you saw those higher totals that well exceeded our expectations. So let's talk about our snowfall forecast. I just want to kind of toot my own horn here. I made this snowfall graphic on Sunday morning, and I can say that most of the area saw 1 inch to 3 inches. Mm-hmm. So I'm very happy with this. I rather the snowfall forecast overperform than for us to have higher totals and then it comes down much less, right? We want to be overprepared than to be underprepared. Mm-hmm. But places in Richmond, very spot on, 3 to 5 inches of snowfall. But there were some very heavy snow bands that, again, did dump up to 4 to 6 inches of snowfall in places around the peninsula and the south side, the western south side. And then we had the slush terrain and mainly rain there in northeastern North Carolina, where those areas saw just less than a half an inch of snowfall. So to answer your question, Connor, I would say we did pretty well with this. Yep. And I think that sometimes it just is, predicting the weather is hard. I mean, it's not an easy task. But I will say that when it comes to the general consensus, could we have gone a little bit higher? Yeah, 1 to 4 inches. Sure, we did say that yesterday, but I think a general 1 to 3 inches was pretty spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. As we went through the day, especially in terms of the severity relative to each location. Mm-hmm. So Virginia Beach, Norfolk compared to Suffolk, Chesapeake compared to, in terms of it being a little heavier up in that peninsula area, and then those coastal areas maybe not as much. I feel like you guys really nailed the discrepancies there. Right. But then parts of Virginia Beach, I mean, Great Neck and Virginia Beach getting 2 inches of snow is definitely, that's really something. That was a little bit extra, but that, again, that's not as much that coastal area as maybe the ocean front or something of that nature. So, no, I thought you guys did a fantastic job. Seeing Tim and Evan and yourself all work yesterday was really, really incredible stuff. And, I thought you guys pretty much nailed it. And then, of course, you wake up today, and what's the process like for you guys? Do you kind of look over everything and see where there was an overperformance and where things may have changed a little bit? I mean, as a meteorology team, what's that process like?
So that's a good point, and that's why I'm pulling up this graphic now. Now, this is this evening. I'm going to edit this just so everyone can see this in real time. That was through Monday, so this was for this past evening. Evan and Tim actually came up with this snowfall graphic, and it's helpful when you have a morning team, you have an evening team. During the morning, we said 1 to 3 inches most places, but when they started to see those higher snowfall totals, then they could say, okay, 3 to 6 plus. And you can see in those areas, this was the evening forecast right around 2 to 3 p.m. yesterday that was updated. So once we start to see those totals getting a little bit higher, then we can adjust our forecast accordingly. So here is the final snowfall outlook that was posted yesterday for 3 to 6 inches of snowfall there for portions of the peninsula and the western south side, 1 to 3 inches for most other places, and then up to an inch through our coastline down through northeastern North Carolina. So that's kind of the way we do it. We have our initial snowfall forecast. If it overperforms, great. Then we start to see what we have. We see our snowfall accumulations at the time and see how much more we can get in there. Sometimes it's hard because you can have bursts of snow, and that will dump really heavy totals that may not have been taken into account during that morning model run, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's kind of nowcasting where you're watching in real time. Oh my gosh, this band of snow is about to enter the peninsula. This is going to dump at so-and-so amount. We're going to up the numbers as we go throughout the day.
Okay, fantastic.
So now, this is the final snowfall forecast we saw yesterday.
Final snowfall forecast we saw yesterday. Now let's leave broadcast Taylor behind for just a moment, and let's talk life Taylor. Okay. You know what I mean? Let's talk lives down the road from Nia Taylor. You yesterday,
lives in the same building as Nia Taylor.
Lives in the same building as Nia Taylor. Let's talk Taylor out in the wild, right?
Oh, okay.
You get home from work yesterday. I enjoyed that. So you get home from work yesterday, And did you get to enjoy the snow at all? Were you keeping tabs on it? Because you had the early shift.
Yes.
And so you got home 1:30, 2 o'clock maybe?
When the snow really started to fall. Yeah.
And the snow really picks up, especially right in your area. There were some real flurries.
Mm-hmm.
What was kind of your day like? Did you cozy up? Did you keep an eye on it? Did you walk around?
So my day was I went home, and then I have this huge window in my living room that's like floor to ceiling. So I opened that up like with the blinds, not open the window, but push back the blinds.
Right.
I had my Christmas tree lit, and I had the TV going in the background and my heated weighted blanket on top of me, and just watched the snow fall. And then eventually was just on, my favorite social media app, TikTok. So I was just on TikTok. And
That's what I'm talking
I was just
about.
taking videos of it. I have a video of me just like laying on the couch, just enjoying the snowfall. So once I'm off of work, and a lot of these viewers actually know this. It's so funny. I go out and about and people are like, Taylor, you work a lot, but then when you're off, you're on vacation. Yeah, when I'm off, I'm off. So I like to really shut down and like separate myself from work. A work-life balance is super important to me.
Yeah.
So I try not to at least tune into our work here at 13 News Now when it comes to trying to track snowfall and see what's going on. I may like watch a show to see what Evan or Tim or even Connor, you, Dana, Janet are saying, but I'm not going to do my own forecasting at that point. But even yesterday I was like, I'm tired. It's been a long day. So I'm just going to lay down and enjoy the fact that I have the afternoon off and just watch the snowfall.
And I like that you still have a passion for weather. So you've got the window open, you see the snow falling, and you kind of still get to enjoy that part of it. Sounds like a borderline perfect Monday.
It pretty much was.
Okay, fantastic. Now, the question that we got to get to, let's bring Broadcast Taylor back into the studio. It was
back.
Great to hang out with Taylor Steffs, but Broadcast Taylor is back. Now, this is exactly what we're looking for, is what is to come here. Are there more perfect days in the future? How are things going to progress from here?
So for the rest of the week, I am tracking a bit of a warm-up tomorrow, but today is going to be sunny and chilly. And then anything that may melt today could refreeze overnight. So we do have a little bit of a black ice concern in the morning. After that, and after really yesterday, rain, winter weather will be hard to come by over the next 7 days as we remain fairly dry. So sunny and chilly today, and then melting may lead to some refreezing tonight with warmer temperatures before dropping later on this week.
Okay.
So right now, I love showing these little sky views because this is where Madison was earlier from Newport News. And you can still see the snow there on parts of the buildings around the city center. And it was pretty because she took a picture this morning and the Christmas tree was lit and the snow was on the ground. It was a really pretty sight. But right now you can see that it's really, really sunny. Temperatures right now are in the 30s area-wide, except for Elizabeth City, where we're right at 40. It's a very cold afternoon. And then the light blue color, that is the feels like, real feel, wind chill, whatever you want to call it. But the feels like temperature outside. So you take into account that it's a bit windy, but the winds are really backing off this afternoon, where right now we are seeing some feels like temperatures in the low to upper 30s. Now, you may be wondering, okay, why is Newport News and Hampton kind of a little bit cooler than the rest? This is where I get to be Taylor the teacher. Let's talk about a little bit of science behind that. This is called albedo, and albedo is a big word for just reflectivity or reflection. And snow has a high reflection value. So when the sun rays beat down the snow, because the snow reflects that back into space, that keeps temperatures on the ground cooler. So for our snowier areas, you may be a degree or two cooler than other areas that didn't get much snow, because that snow is reflecting that sunlight back into space, not allowing for the ground to warm up. In places where we didn't really see much snow and we have a lot of concrete, we have a low albedo, meaning that the sun is not reflected very well. So think of places like Norfolk and portions of Virginia Beach, where we have lots of roads that heat up fairly quickly, and so temperatures will be a bit warmer. This also goes to the lore of your mom or grandma saying, wear light colored clothing in the summertime. They weren't just saying that to say that for their health.
They were in on the albedo.
They were in on the albedo for sure. And so when in the summertime you wear light colored clothing because it reflects the sunlight better instead of wearing dark colored clothing like navy, black, that will actually absorb a lot of sunlight. But same thing, but opposite when it comes to snowfall. When you have snowfall in the area, it reflects a lot of that sunlight, so it keeps the ground cooler.
Question.
Yes.
Now, if you had a body of water with crystal clear water,
Okay.
and then you had another body of water where it was much more murky and it was almost opaque, would there be a difference in the albedo between those two bodies of water?
I think it would be a little bit, but that's
Okay.
a whole different topic about
Yeah.
specific heat energy. The water takes a long time to heat up regardless.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, that's all about water tension. That goes into chemistry. So that's
Yeah.
a whole different topic that we can
Yes.
probably talk about another day. But
Good call.
but yeah, but yes, in general, darker colors do absorb sunlight more easily. To answer your question on the very basic level, but if we want to talk about, on a different day, probably more of a summertime day, we can talk about the specific heat of water, which is how much sunlight does it take to warm up water compared to land.
Okay.
It's a big deal.
We're going to put you on the calendar for June 5th, 1 p.m. right here, Live Impact News.
Oh, why the 5th?
We'll
that's
talk
my
water
best friend's
temperature.
birthday.
Because
That's my
I
best friend.
support Naya's best friend. That's why
we
the
do-
5th.
I do too.
We're
I do too.
celebrating her birthday by talking water temps.
Yes. So, good question though. Question I have for albedo at all?
No, but I do want to say my mom definitely said that. And on top of that, I always wear dark colors in the winter.
Mm-hmm. The dark colors help keep you a little bit
Still
warmer.
following mom's advice.
I know.
Yeah.
Got to.
But I think some people are just like, oh, they're just telling me that. No, and there are some, fables that parents just tell you. But this is
Right.
actually a real thing. It's science.
See, there we
Yeah.
go. People tell me that I don't wear enough tones. It's a lot of navy blues and blacks for me when it comes to the attire. Going forward, I'm just going to tell them to look up albedo
Albedo.
because I'm just trying to stay warm out here.
There, and then you can be the expert and show your friends that you're cool and you know science.
I'm about to be so cool. Thank you, Taylor. You have instilled us with coolness. You have instilled us with knowledge. Are you able to instill us with any days going forward where it's going to be a little bit warm?
Yes, let's talk about that. So
Yes.
we'll get into the forecast of how we're going to get a little bit warmer over the course of the next day or so. So our low pressure system, a clipper system, that is also a scientific term. It's an Alberta clipper that just comes from a fast moving system that actually originates in the province of Alberta in Canada. So something from the north coming down here, quick moving, brings us snow. A next round of snow from another clipper system, a Canadian clipper system, actually coming to DC and Maryland as we get towards December 4th. Now, that will be a little bit too north for us to see any snowfall, but these clipper systems happen all the time. High pressure is now in control, and high pressure will keep us in control for the next couple of days or so. And for today, that will give us sunshine. Tomorrow, as high pressure slides offshore, that will change our wind direction, and that will bring in a warmer air. Right now, from radar, you can see it's super quiet. I kind of want to switch over, though, to satellite to show you something kind of cool. So let me see if I can pull up my satellite. I'll go back one and then zoom in. Okay, so you see the clouds that are moving, right? And I'll take off this high pressure so it's a little bit easier to see. So let me take off this surface map. Okay, so you see these clouds, and I'm gonna point them out too, with my little arrow. So you see the clouds here.
Mm-hmm.
You see the clouds here moving from west to east.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see how it kind of gets gray and a little grainy here and through Farmville? Not the clouds that are moving, but right underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
That's snow. That's the satellite from space picking up on the snowfall inland. Those grainy areas that are just not moving, but showing up right around 9 a.m. You see that?
And is that snow that's on the ground
On the
already?
ground. Mm-hmm. And you can
Ah.
see that here in as you get near Southampton County, right there. You can also see it in Surrey County, right about here.
Mm-hmm.
That's snow.
Okay,
Isn't
and it
that cool?
tracks. In
Yeah.
terms of the areas of coverage, it tracks
It
with
tracks.
everything we saw.
Where the bigger snowfall totals, where you can kind of see from space where the snow is right here. The rest, when you see things moving, that's cloud cover. But anything that's just stuck on the ground, not moving and grainy, that's actually snow.
The aliens know we're going through it.
Yeah, they do. And you can also, that's how you can also tell the difference between fog and upper level clouds. A lot of times fog is a little bit slower moving and darker gray, but it's fun to see stuff like that on satellite and radar where you can just see the snow without really seeing it from a camera.
Nice. Well, side note, we've got our summertime water temperature, June 5th. We've got that on the calendar.
Yeah.
Can we do a springtime fog explainer as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
put that on the calendar for what? End of March, Naya? What do you think?
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay,
unless we
okay.
get more freezing fog, which we had over the weekend, and I can explain what
Freezing frog.
No, not freezing frog.
Did I say frog there? Did I just say
You
frog?
did.
Okay. Let's not act like there weren't a lot of freezing frogs out there yesterday. It was a very
were.
cold
There were.
day. Yeah, maybe I did that on purpose.
It's okay.
Shout
It's-
out to the amphibians. But you were talking about freezing fog.
Yes, it's
Totally
hard. It's hard to
different.
say. It's really I
It
get
is.
mixed up all the time.
Yes.
I have a little bit of a stutter sometimes and a lisp. So your girl is like, I
Yeah.
try sometimes to avoid it because I
Yeah.
know that I'm gonna mess it up.
Right,
But yeah,
with you.
freezing fog. But we had that over the weekend where temperatures were below freezing. We actually had fog develop, and when that happens, the water droplets of the fog can actually create ice on branches and slick spots on the roads.
Oh, wow.
Is that the icicles?
It's not icicles. It's gonna be more like droplets. So it's gonna be like kind of a coating more than a drop down.
Yeah. Sounds like it could end up being like one of those things that's kind of peaceful and pretty to look
Yeah,
at,
it is.
maybe.
It is. It's kind of like eerie looking, you know, when you're
Yeah.
like you think of like just dense fog, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
also super cold. But yeah, it's pretty when it like lines
Horror
up
movie
on the,
vibes.
Yeah, a little
like,
bit.
don't go down that road.
A little bit.
It's full of frozen fog.
But yeah, we hadn't
Yeah.
had freezing fog in a while. So next time it shows up, then we can talk about it a little bit more. But I thought
Okay.
that was pretty cool. But yeah, put me on the calendar for March for more fog.
Okay, on the list.
but-
Freezing frogs, cold fog, fog explainers.
So
this
that's
spring.
the look at the satellite and radar. And again, here's another look at radar. And this is just a radar image coming from the beam out there in Wakefield. And you can see that we're sweeping quiet, nothing really going on here, and nothing will go on for the next couple of days. Temperatures right now are in the middle to upper 30s, lower 40s as you head south. As we get through the afternoon, we may climb a degree or two, but we'll pretty much stay in the upper 30s and lower 40s around the coast. Inland with all the snow, we'll stay in the mid 30s. Like I just explained, the albedo, the sunlight being reflected from the snowfall, 3 to 6 inches anywhere from Newport News out through Richmond will keep it a little bit cooler, so just above freezing. This puts us about 20 degrees below normal though. For this time of year, we should be somewhere around 56, 57 degrees for a mid-December day. So we've been underneath a stretch of very, very cold days. So the course of the day today, we'll see some cloud cover, and then it will start to move out overnight. That's where my concern for black ice comes back again. Look at tomorrow morning. Inland temperatures will be in the upper 20s. Around the water will be in the lower to middle 30s. So especially inland, if things melt today from the sunlight, and then they could refreeze overnight, we could have some black ice concerns. Just be very careful on the roads. One, give your car enough time to warm up. And two, if it looks like it's wet tomorrow morning and you're seeing that it looks like a puddle, it's probably not a puddle. It's probably ice. So just be careful and take your time on the roads. It's best to, help your safety more than getting to, your destination at a fast pace. So as we progress through the rest of the day tomorrow, notice how winds are now coming from the south and west instead of the north. These south winds coming from the southwest, that's going to promote a big warm up for us. So even though in the morning we'll be in the middle to upper 30s, as we get into the afternoon, we'll be in the lower to middle 40s with increasing clouds, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour. For highs tomorrow, we're back in the lower 50s. So a big improvement after today, maybe not even breaking into the 40s. So we're doing about a 15-degree temperature swing from this afternoon to tomorrow afternoon. It just may not be the sunniest day by far, but at least we get some type of mild temperatures back in there. The further north you are, temperatures will be in the middle to upper 40s. And even for Wednesday, this is our basically last day of seeing these mildish temperatures, even though we're still below normal. We're not hitting that 56, 57 degree mark quite yet. At least it's milder. Again, my concern tomorrow is really black ice as temperatures drop to the 20s and lower 30s. Any standing water will freeze overnight, especially inland and especially around bridges and overpasses. I know you've probably seen that yellow diamond where that car is kind of swerving. Usually it says bridges ice before the roads. I'm sure you've seen that sign before. And that's because elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses allow for cold air to be wrapped around them, and so they freeze and get colder faster than the asphalt and the ground roads. So that's just a little bit of a lesson there too, but just be careful. Now here's a look at the temperature trend over the next 10 days, and you can see that after tomorrow we are on a slippery slope.
We got no reprieve here. This is this is tough.
Average high temperature 56 degrees, and I do not see a single temperature in the mid 50s outside of tomorrow.
So we are not touching the average, or even really close to the average, anytime soon.
And I don't think we've had an above average day all through December so far.
Okay, so we are going to continue pounding the table. What have we been saying, Naya? If we get the cold December, we need to be paid back with a warm March.
Oh, I thought if we get a cold December, at least we get a white Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Oh,
yeah.
You're
wait.
the only one
I
that's
thought we
been
were
saying
all
that.
on the warm March train.
I just really think that we should get a white. We deserve a white Christmas.
I think if it's been snowing thus far, I want a white Christmas. At this
Yeah.
point, it's cold. At least make it worth it.
This is true. This is fair.
Not to say that a warm March is not out of the picture. I want a warm
okay.
February. But,
Yeah. Maybe we can have it all.
Not a warm February.
Yeah, I want a warm February.
Naya, you're against a warm February? A warm February would be amazing.
Yeah,
That
it would.
be too much warmth in 1 year.
It's been cold all year to me.
We've got the
talking about
below
2026.
average
If
December.
it's not warm,
Oh, I guess that's true. But I mean, once we get
We're
past
earning it
Valentine's
right
Day,
now. Yeah, we're earning it right now.
we are.
Imagine if February we could all just be outside.
Yeah, at the beach.
no.
Naya loves the
in
seasons.
February?
She stays strong to her principles. You got to give her
Yeah,
that. She does
yeah.
love the seasons. Okay, so it's going to be frigid.
Yeah.
In
And I
terms
think
of-
these numbers are a little bit elevated for Monday and Tuesday.
wow.
I think we may not even make it to 40 by Monday and Tuesday. It's going to be a huge Arctic blast. Right now, we're predicting, and I'll show you on our 7-day forecast, we're predicting upper 30s at best for Monday. So
Arctic blast. Sounds like an awesome Gatorade flavor. Not what you want from your weather situation.
no, not at all.
No.
I mean, unless people love the cold. Some people here do like the cold, and that's fine. As he points to Naya. But as you see, temperatures really, again, on that slope downhill. So I don't think we'll have an above average day anytime soon.
Okay, can we talk about Friday PM showers?
Yeah, so we'll have that system coming through on Friday, and it's just a little too far out to show on our maps right now because usually our maps, well, actually, I can look at our long range. Usually our maps that we use for our forecasting only go out about 48 hours because in forecasting in general, the best accuracy you have is up to 72 hours. So today through about Thursday or even early Friday is our best accuracy. But let me pull up this model here that may show what's going on Friday. So here's the outlook from our European model. And I like the European model because it's a fairly accurate long-range forecasting tool, which is helpful for us. But here's a look at that system moving through on Thursday afternoon. We get cooler. And then here's another look at Friday. And I'll try to actually zoom in. Let's see if I can find... let me find the zoomed in version, or at least move it in here. We'll move the scene camera. I kind of like doing this in person with y'all.
I feel like we're getting to watch you work.
Yeah,
almost.
really.
You know, we're watching the meteorology happen right here on Live
because
Impact News.
A lot of people don't realize, one, meteorologists do not have a script, so anything we do is ad lib. So please give us grace. Two, we actually, and there's a little sidebar. Two,
That blew my mind the first time I saw that in the studio.
Yeah.
No script. All this stuff you guys see, 3.5 minute forecast when we're on stream, even longer than that, not a single word written down ahead of time.
No.
Whereas if I'm even going to say my name, I have to have someone write it down first. I have to have People's producer Nia Campbell write it down.
But two, we build our own graphics. So thankfully, a lot of the graphics, and I don't even think that Nia and Connor know this. We have an Excel file that actually, when we edit it during the morning and afternoon shifts, it actually disseminates that information to hundreds of graphics we have. So when you see the 7-day forecast, it's actually not us typing it in for each individual graphic. Mm-hmm. We type it into one Excel sheet and it spreads it to multiple graphics at the same time. So that's very helpful for us. So we don't have to edit every single graphic every single day. But here's a look. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit cloudier. Thursday, a little bit of snow to our north and west, not in our area. Friday, increasing cloud cover. Here's Friday afternoon. And we could maybe see, let's see, that went a little too far. This is Friday evening. And we may see a little bit of a mix to our north and west, but for us, just mainly a cold rain. But Richmond, Farmville, maybe getting another round of snow as we get into the late week. But for us, our chances are a bit lower. We may see a mix in places like Gloucester and Williamsburg. But that's a look at Friday afternoon from our long-range European model.
But we expect rain for most of our viewing area. But again, this is something that you guys will update throughout the week.
I think this is probably even overdoing it. With these kind of long-range outlooks, it doesn't really, this is just showing like the opportunity for rain. I think we may just see some scattered showers. I don't think it's going to be widespread, at least for our area.
This is the problem. It's only Tuesday, and I'm already locked in on Friday evening.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
So, like, you're saying it's going to be cold and rainy. That's not to be confused with freezing rain.
Oh, yes. Oh, great point. Yes. That is not to be confused with freezing rain. Cold rain is literally just raindrops that are cold. Freezing rain are super cool droplets that actually freeze on contact when they hit the ground. And I can give you the definition from the Weather Service directly so that we can, I can give you that. So here we go. So, from the Weather Service themselves, this says freezing rain occurs when a layer of freezing air is so thin the raindrops don't have enough time to freeze before reaching the ground. Instead, the water freezes on contact, creating a coating of ice on whenever the raindrop contacts. When you have cold rain, it just creates puddles. Mm-hmm. When you have freezing rain, it's like right at that cusp of trying to become sleet, but it hasn't. But it's cold enough to where if it hits like a car, a metal surface, it immediately freezes on the car. If it hits like branches on a tree, it immediately freezes on the branches, creating very icy conditions. So very good question. Freezing rain and cold rain, not the same.
Okay, very good. And it is cold rain that we'll be getting possibly Friday night. Okay. Mm-hmm, All right. Not the most promising forecast that we've ever seen, but as always, an excellent job delivering that forecast from Taylor Stephenson. Taylor, is there anything else we need to know?
I think that's about it for this forecast. I feel like the brunt of our work has been done in the early weeks. So.
Oh my gosh, 2 incredibly long days for our weather team. You guys did an amazing job. Thank you for all the hard work, trying to make sure everyone is safe and informed. We appreciate it. And hopefully, back to the giant window and the Christmas tree. Yes,
giant window, Christmas tree, heated, weighted blanket, all of that. And I do want to say one thing. Thank you so much for everybody who watched us yesterday, who sent in photos, because not only for the Weather Service, but for us here at 13 News Now, it's very nice to have our forecast being able to be monitored in real time with you guys that are actually in the elements and showing us, hey, we got 2 inches here in Virginia Beach. We got 6 inches in Newport News. It's very helpful to us, but also helps us tell the story. So thank you to everybody who sent in their photos and videos. Super, super helpful. And I hope that you guys had a good snow day.
Awesome. As always, we appreciate it. And that last part, super important. Obviously, safety, caution are paramount, but we do hope everyone got to enjoy a snow day, or at least a bunch of people got to enjoy a snow day. We heard from some of the students at William & Mary during Layla Cox's live shot. Naya Campbell was producing that show. Exams postponed.
Oh.
Maybe the two greatest words
were
in the
so
English
excited.
language, if you're of a certain age, exams postponed.
Yeah.
And they were out and about and enjoying it and getting a little extra studying in, of course.
And Christopher Newport University students were having a snowball fight. I mean, the kids were enjoying it. Madison was out this morning, and kids were in Newport News were sledding down hills with, when she was out there. So I think I saw a lot of happy faces with this snowfall.
The duality of the snowfall. Roads are a little more difficult. You want to make sure everyone's safe, but it's also kind of a blast.
Yeah,
if
it is.
Everything works out. I used to love a snow adventure. It's like, let's just walk until we find something going on. You kind of gather a little crew and you just trek. And you go for as far as the eyes can see. I'm not getting a lot of, I used to do that too as a kid, Connor.
Well,
faces
we're from
right
the
now.
South.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Not a lot
We're
of
from the
snow.
South.
Okay, fair enough.
I was just about to say it's so crazy to hear the different worlds because
Yeah.
I never, even exams canceled for snow.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No. I mean, I went to Oklahoma. It snowed.
Yeah.
But we never had exams canceled. I mean, they're like
Right.
walking it.
Right.
You better get to class.
Strap up those
hurricanes,
boots.
though.
Exams are on.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. And then in Jacksonville, maybe they would cancel exams if it was too hot.
No, we would have hurricanes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
of course,
Yeah.
most definitely. Okay, so everybody in the kind of has their own version of going through the extreme weather, but kind of what makes us all one community is that everyone does have to deal with this in some fashion or another. Each part of the country has their own version of it, but we all deal with it in one way or another. So we still kind of get that communal feel. And we have had a very communal feel having Taylor Stephenson here today. What's our word of the day? Albedo.
Albedo.
The reflectivity. We hope that
Yes.
when everyone looks in the mirror, their albedo shows them something that they want to see. Did I use that right?
No, but we're gonna go with it.
We are gonna go with it. Okay. Awesome. Always a pleasure. Thank you,
Yeah,
Taylor.
of course.
Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And we've
will.
got a lot more to come right here on Live Impact for our Tuesday. We have a little bit of a decision to make here. There are no live events happening at this current moment. The Brian Walsh trial has entered its second week, and it is happening right now. I will say, Naya, if we go to the news source, there is currently a press conference going on with an update on the mass shooting in Stockton, California. And I think that might be worthwhile to tune into right now. So
Yes,
would you
let me
mind
pull it up.
pulling that up? Okay. Nia Campbell is going to pull that up. We're going to tune in live to that press conference. And we also have a few other pre-recorded press conferences that we want to get to if we have time. But for now, we're going to stick with this live event. This was a birthday party that left 4 people dead in Stockton, California. It happened, I'm trying to find the exact date. I mean, in early December, Tuesday is the update that I've seen here. But it is not when the shooting itself occurred. The party was on November 29th. And again, 4 were killed, ages 8, 9, 14, and 21. And 10 others were injured. Let's go to a live press conference now with an update on that tragic situation.
And I just posted a video of my son this morning. Like every day I wake up, the whole world is talking about my son, got him on videos and with all this, with this rap stuff, and then the kids from the schools and just crying and crying and crying. It's like my whole life is a satire now. Like I'm in depressed mode. I'm walking around here like droopy, and it's like, I know my son wouldn't want me to be like that, but I'm just very hurt. We all hurt, and I just need all the love, and my family, we just need all the help and the love that we can get, because I don't know how we gonna even bounce back from this. So if anybody has, resources for us for our mental health, and I'm pretty much sure I'm getting all that from the people that are around me, Jason, Calvin, and everybody else that's been helping, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And I just thank everybody who's been there and that's helping, and people that I don't know that's donated to the GoFundMe, Um, you know, in the future, God willing, when I do get in a better mind state, I want to do something, you know, in honor of my son, for the community, for the kids, because the kids are the future. And, you know, I changed my life for the kids. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
And first of all, I want to thank whoever just a little bit. I want to thank Patrick for again sharing everything that he just said. And I know, because I've been there before in losing my brother, how an unexpected event is very different than when you know something is coming with a loved one, right? But the courage, the passion in sharing his pain and his resolve to see solutions is why I wanted to have him here today. But what I want to say to Patrick is that for me, I'm going to be here when the cameras are not here, because that's important. I want to say to all of the politicians that have been politicking the pain of these families, and I'm talking to all the families of the kids that were lost, if you don't have a real solution, get off the camera. You have nothing to say. If you're not reaching out to these families and giving them the resources that they need to be able to care for their kids. And just to be very clear, he had another child shot in this tragedy. There's nothing to talk about right now other than catching the people who are responsible. He talked about being a black man. As a black man, I asked our police department to give me the stats of all the homicides and shootings that have happened in this city since I've taken office, ages 0 to 19. And I have a long list here. And when I went down, I wanted to see it by race. Hispanic, there's 1D, 1F, which I'm assuming is Filipino, black, black, Hispanic, Hispanic, black, 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 Hispanic, black, black, Hispanic, Hispanic, black, Hispanic, black, Hispanic, black, Hispanic, 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 black, Hispanic, 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 Hispanic. Just want to put that out there. This is not time for politics. This is time for action. Every single child in this community deserves to graduate. When I talked to Kim and she sent me pictures of Amari, I saw myself in Amari. And when I went to his Instagram, because I'm nosy, that little kid had a scripture in his Instagram bio. I'm 48 years old and have never put a scripture in my Instagram bio. And I believe it was Philippians 4:13. I could be wrong. But I just want that to just settle with people. Because as you're posting on social media, because you're trying to figure out how you're feeling with this experience, they're reliving it every post that a post goes up. I want to say to the city council, in 2022, I sent an email. When I wasn't in office, I just sent an email and I said, the blood of every child in this community is on the city's hands if you don't do something to prevent these type of things from happening. That was in 2022. Then I ran for office. Then I got elected. Because in 2023, I had a 5-year-old sit here and tell the council, you need to invest in youth programs to help kids get off the streets and to charter their paths. The same path Amari was on. Kim just found a stack of money. He was saving money. I don't know if I still don't save money. This boy was bright because he had good parents. And a lot of our kids in this community that have good parents are praying that this doesn't happen to them. In 2003, when the 5-year-old stood here and asked the council to invest in kids, no. March of 2025, when they defunded Advanced Peace, I had Advanced Peace meet with the Office of Violence Prevention to put together a consolidated plan to invest in prevention services. This council didn't act on it. Instead, turned that into a scandal. The face covering ban. When we see people riding around my neighborhood with face coverings on looking to shoot people, that council has not acted on that. When I look at funding, we gave $190 million to the police department, which is essential because we need to have that for our public safety officers. But we put $2 million in prevention services. What is that going to do when we know the city has had the challenges that we are talking about today? And I toured the jail and juvenile halls with our sheriff and with our probation department. And I understand that the state laws make it very complicated for our law enforcement officials and our district attorney to keep people incarcerated. So there needs to be real work done at the state to look at that. And then lastly, this city just watched this council vote down funding for a youth center. Free money to help open up a place and a pathway for kids like Amari to be able to thrive. We need to look at ourselves. We need to take an examination of this, and we need to look at the example of these parents who are standing here demanding two things. One, justice for their son and their daughter. And the second part is real accountability and change in our community. And I said this to Patrick in private, I'm gonna say it one more time. He doesn't understand his power yet. He doesn't understand his strength yet. But him being able to stand here right now and say what he's saying and share this pain with the public has to mean something. So if you know something, don't be a coward and not come forward and speak, because Amari deserves you to do that. So if you don't have the courage, find somebody that can help you find it. I want to bring up Nuri Muhammad really quick to talk about the work that he was doing in prevention and the need for more support in that area.
Good morning. Thank you, Councilman Lee. Thank you, everyone in attendance. Most of all, thank the Peterson family for lending their story to our story. You may have lost a son, but you've gained a whole city of sons. So I appreciate your struggle and what your family is going through, and my heart is with all of you. My name is Nuri Muhammad, and I'm a student minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. I'm a local grass activist, if you will, lifelong resident of Stockton, and in 2018 I had the honor of being the program director for a local nonprofit called Advance Peace, which does work all over the country in the field of gun violence prevention as it relates to young people primarily. We worked and operated and had great success in the city of Stockton, and from a grassroots perspective, we were making headway in our targeted population. Advance Peace, along with the Office of Violence Prevention, we've done good work. Unfortunately, in March, we had to close our doors, particularly related to the issue of funding. I would say this, you know, there is a lot of building going on all over Stockton, infrastructure things, and those things are needed. Right now on Thornton Road, there are people out working on the streets right now. All throughout Stockton, there are buildings being renovated and streets being fixed, and all those things are necessary and needed in order to create the kind of city that we need. However, if we make an investment in things but don't make an investment in people, then we'll always have this type of imbalance that happens, and we'll just go around and we'll tear up the things that you build. So it is necessary for us as a city to hold our elected officials accountable and ensure that the budget that was passed this past year, we don't make a budget like that again. The budget is a moral document, according to Dr. King. That it's an expression of what we value as a city and as people. And if we don't have any line items for young people, if we don't have any line items for the poor, if it doesn't have any line items for those that are suffering with a lack of with a lack of proper security and homelessness, if we don't have those type of line items that we earmark to handle the least of the people in the city, then there'll always be some type of imbalance. I think Jesus said it best when he questioned his disciples on, you know, he said, when you didn't feed me, you know, when I hungered, you fed me not. When I was sick and in prison, you ministered not unto me. When I was outdoors, you didn't give me any shelter. And they just asked him, when we didn't do this for you? And he said, when you didn't do for the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you didn't do it also unto me. So this gives municipalities, governments, people that govern the lives of others, the kind of sensibility that they should take into consideration when they're talking about the collective dollars of people. So lastly, I would say there are a lot of grassroots organizations that are operating in the city of Stockton that need your assistance, especially in this hour in the aftermath of an incident like this. The Advance Peace has a small contingent of people that are working here. They need your support. The Office of Violence and Prevention, they're undermanned, and I think I can speak on their behalf. They need your support moving forward if they're going to continue to do the great work that they're doing. Families like the Peterson family need opportunities to be able to connect it with mental health services, people that do trauma support. There are a lot of organizations that are working right now. All of them need your support as a city, so please reach out to City Hall. You could reach to different organizations. You could reach out to Faith in the Valley, Amelia Adams, Whole Life Center. There are a lot of places that are doing the work. See where you can be of service. And we need as many volunteers. The greatest asset you can give is human capital. be a person that is active in your community, and together we can make the kind of changes that are needed and support the families in this hour. So thank you, Brad.
So before taking a few questions, let me say this. I want to thank Governor Newsom for the $132 million of funding that did go towards the Be Well campus for mental health services. I do want to acknowledge the City Council did approve police substations in my district that are going to be opening at the end of this month and at the top of next year. But there's more work to be done. These kids are Josh Harder's kids. They're Rhodesia Ransom's kids. They are shared with every elected official from the state, Jerry McNerney's kids, to the federal, and whether it's Assembly, Senate, or Congress. I'm talking to Josh Harder about Real-Time Crime Center and helping us to become more efficient with resources here in the city. All of us share the responsibility. All of us in the community can do our part by coming forward and sharing who's responsible. All of us who are leaders that have access to resources need to be here for this family now. If you're in the public, you want to donate to their GoFundMe account, you should. And we need to, more importantly, be here when the cameras are not here. And again, to the media that is responsibly sharing these stories to the public, thank you, because this has been a critical component to making sure that the world knows what we're working through. I'll take a few questions and then we'll be done. Any questions?
I think I got one, Vice Mayor.
Yes.
You talked a lot about coming from looking for funding, looking for investment. We've been seeing that crippled, if anything, from the federal level, the state level, I mean, all these budget stuff. And now here we are dealing with these repercussions. I mean, how do you find that, juice to keep going, if you will? I mean, it feels like you're taking out at the ankles and now the knees, and now you're laying flat.
Yeah. I mean, the president has shown us who he is. The president has been one thing, and that is consistent. So I don't look to the president to help us with what we're going through. Donald Trump was not the president when I got shot. He wasn't the president when my brother got murdered. He wasn't the president a few years ago when homicides were happening in this community. This council and the council before that and the council before that is the municipality leadership that should be looking at all the opportunities for public-private partnerships, funding opportunities, and other ways of strategically building our community, rebuilding relationships, and building hope for young people who have lost it. I'm not one to point at a mythical president or a mythical creature and say Superman or this unicorn is going to come and save us. When we talk about funding, this council voted down millions of dollars of state funding for youth programs. So again, I'm not going to absolve my colleagues of the responsibility, but I'm also not going to politic it to the extent that I don't say it takes all of us to continue to go. That question you asked, I wake up every day, and trust me, when you're a solution-oriented, focused person, it is very hard to continue to beat your head against the wall when you see opportunity like this. But then it's individuals like Kim and Patrick that remind me why I'm here. And then my job is to remind my colleagues why they're here. And so I'll continue to do that. And I'll continue to share with our partners in the state, the Assembly, and in Congress exactly what it is that we all took an oath to do. Stockton, and I'm going to post a video later on my social media right after this. Stockton has not prioritized the lives of children for a long time. We talk about it. When this type of stuff happens, we talk about it. But I'm tired of talking about this, and I'm tired of I'm not going to a bunch of vigils because what they're experiencing is real. It's not a video game, as he explained, I think, yesterday. This is real life pain that's going to last forever. And so what I would remind my colleagues, when you take the oath and when you're moving around being an elected official, when it comes to responsibility, to whom much is given, much is required. So you have to step up and lead at all times. This council has been fractured, you've seen, for the last 7 months. It's not because people don't like each other, it's because our pathway to our promise has become distracted for some people. And I'm hoping that this unfortunate incident brings us together, because I don't like having to talk to families who've lost their children. It is a very personal and a very triggering experience for me. But we can't give up. We have to keep going. Yes?
We know now from the DA's office that this was gang-related, but there's a number of people in the city that it also has ties to Stockton's rap music scene, right? People around the country right now are fascinated with music coming out of the city, but we also see the effects of that, right, in Michigan. As a city official, how are you kind of navigating, the influence of this export of the city that also has this, these violent implications.
Yeah.
Especially on children.
Yeah, I'm a city official, but I also work in entertainment. So let me address that from two standpoints. Hip hop is a form of art that tells stories in communities that we come from, right? But the hip hop that's happening in Stockton is being used for pure evil. People talking about crimes they're committing against families, and the recycled trauma continues to exacerbate an already fragile relationship that people have. Family members killing family members because they're in different gangs. Gangs who are opposing one another that live around the corner from each other. It's nonsensical, and it is not what hip hop was created for. This past weekend, I was in Miami for DJ Khaled's birthday party. As soon as I walked in, the first thing he said was, "Thank you for standing for those kids. Thank you for standing up for those kids." Everybody in hip hop is denouncing what we've seen here in Stockton. So I don't want to blame the music. I want to blame the culture and the soul of this city that has allowed this to happen. When I first got here and I started addressing some of the gang stuff going on in the rap music, everybody act like I was talking a foreign language. I know entertainment more than any of these people, and I also understand the streets more than any of these people that are elected. And so it's been a very frustrating thing for people to ignore all the warning signs. What I will say is that I'm not going to blame music. I'm not going to blame anybody other than the people who did this crime.
All right, back here in the Live Impact News studio in the midst of that press conference on the mass shooting at a child's birthday party in Stockton, California. But we are going to take you live out to North Carolina now for a press conference that has just started. Salem, North Carolina, a press conference about a school incident. Now, we do have information from one of our affiliate stations that a Forsyth County Sheriff's Office confirmed there was a stabbing at North Forsyth High School on Tuesday. It's possible that's what this is about. We don't have that confirmed yet, so let's go live out now and listen in.
Ya les mandaron un anuncio.
That he needed all hands on deck. We responded to North Forsyth High School.
Que necesitaban
Upon
toda
arrival,
la ayuda
we responded to an altercation between two students.
en North Forsyth, la escuela, entre una
Doing
pelea
this-
entre dos estudiantes.
During this occasion, the altercation, there was a loss of life.
En esta pelea hubo una muerte entre
What I
los
would tell
dos
you is that the
estudiantes.
families of the people involved have been notified. What I would tell you is that there is no danger to the community. What I would tell you is that Winston-Salem Police Department, City of Winston-Salem, Emergency Management, the school system, we're praying with the family, for the family, to bring resolution. I know you have a lot of questions. What I would tell you is that it's an ongoing investigation. What I can tell you is what this community needs now is prayer. I need your prayers. The principal needs your prayer. The community needs your prayer. We need prayer right now. That's what we need. I'm going to pause for a moment and bring Chief Penn to the podium to share a few words.
It's a dark day for our city. Events like this have shaken us to our very core. The Winston-Salem Police Department is an assisting agency in its investigation. Much like the Sheriff's Office and the school system, we're committed to identifying what occurred. What I would also say, and please by no means read more into this than what I'm saying, is that as a community, we're going to have to absolutely work together to stop senseless violence, period. I'd also like to say that whoever's sharing this video, liking this video, commenting on this video, please think about the insensitive nature of what you're doing. This isn't the time to clout chase. Our students, our teachers, all the staff at North Forsyth High School will need all of us. So as a community, again, I beg of us to come together to put an end to senseless violence. And at this time, I'm going to turn the podium over to Dr. Phipps.
I want to start by saying that our thoughts and prayers are with our students, staff, and family. When something like this happens, it impacts everyone involved, and that's certainly where our thoughts and prayers are. I want to express my sincere appreciation to local law enforcement and medical first responders for their quick responses and thorough work today. I also want to thank school faculty and staff members for their quick, responsive action. Today is a worst nightmare of any educator. We hurt when our students hurt, and this is the ultimate hurt that we can possibly feel. North Forsyth High School will be closed for students tomorrow. We will have our crisis team in place to meet with faculty and staff, and will extend those services to students upon their return. If immediate student needs arise, we encourage parents and guardians to look to the school's website for resources. As you've heard already, we covet your prayers, and certainly for all those involved.
I know there's a lot of questions that you probably have, but here's what I'm going to say as we close. It's an ongoing investigation. What the family needs now is your prayers. I just left the family. They need your prayers. The governor sends his prayers and condolences. He reached out. But I need prayers from the community. I need prayers from everybody. The school needs your prayer. The principal needs your prayer. The students. So what I'm asking you all to do in this community is that let's take a day of reflection and see where we are. Let's talk to our children, because our children need us now. The future is in need of us right now. All of us have been crying all morning. We have. I won't be answering any questions right now. I won't. They won't, because it's an ongoing investigation, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions. But as soon as we bring closure, what I will tell you is we will push the information out to you, as we've always been transparent. What I will tell you right now is that we have some work to do. Not just work with this, but we have some work to do in our community. I love you all. Again, my condolences and prayers to the family and all those involved, the students that have witnessed this. And again, I thank you for your time. At this time, we'll be concluding this press conference. Thank you all.
How many people were killed?
As I said, I would love to entertain your questions. I think I stated at the beginning there was a loss of life of one. And that's all I'm going to give you. There was a loss of life of one. Thank you.
Okay, back here in the Live Impact News studio, obviously you heard just the tone of that press conference. Pure devastation in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at North Forsyth High School. And you heard right at the end that official announcing that there was a loss of life of one. We have been able to gather from various news sources in the area, our affiliate and sister stations, that there was a stabbing at North Forsyth High School, and from that press conference, we heard right at the end there, a loss of life of one. And you could tell from the tone of that press conference, right from the beginning, how dire of a situation this was. There was a call to stop senseless violence. There was also remarks made about a video and how liking and commenting on that video at this time is insensitive, and that now is not the time to clout chase. We have not seen that video. We don't know what video they're speaking about, but a message from that particular official that now is not the time to like, comment on that video, and that it is insensitive to do so. We know that the school, North Forsyth High School, is closed to students tomorrow. They will have a crisis team on hand for when students get back if they need help. And again, at the end of that press conference, we heard a reporter ask how many people were killed, and that official said loss of life of 1. That is the only place where we have been able to find any details on the number of people affected. It's something that we are still looking into right now as we speak, but you heard from the tail end of that, what we can gather is that a student was stabbed at North Forsyth High School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and that there has been a loss of life of 1. So that is what we can report to you right now on Live Impact News, what we've been able to gather from the press conference we just watched, and information that came from ABC 45 in that part of the state, as well as a report from WCNC, one of our Tegna stations that is in that part of the state as well. North Forsyth High School, a story that we are still piecing together as we speak here. In addition to that press conference, looking through as much local reporting as we can find. So if we get any more details about this, we'll certainly bring them to you. But it's something that we are learning about at the same time as you are learning about it here with us, watching that press conference and finding out more details. Again, the main headline, though, is we can gather from our local affiliates that there was a stabbing, and from the tail end of that press conference, we heard that there was a loss of life of 1. And then the tenor of that press conference was extremely, extremely downtrodden, dire, devastation, the vibe throughout, and comments about how difficult of a day this is for the community and what a tragedy this is. So, again, we will continue to monitor this situation. We are going to find more details if we can. And if and when we do, we will bring them to you. This is a story that is currently developing. So we want to make sure that anything we're able to report, we get confirmed and bring to you as soon as possible. Apologies for rambling a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can find any more information on this before we go to another story for the time being. This is, a part of this Live Impact platform is you guys get to watch news develop in real time as we do, and you get to maybe kind of see some of the processes we look to gather information here. But for now, I think that is all that we have to report. For now, it is that there was a stabbing at North Forsyth High School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and that there has been 1 loss of life as a part of that incident. So, okay. Now, I think, Naya, maybe what we can do, the Brian Walsh trial is ongoing. It enters its 2nd week. Brian Walsh, the man accused of killing and dismembering his wife in 2023. It's a trial that we have been following since opening statements began on and off, and it is now live again here. We have a live feed into the courtroom. And I'm wondering if we go live to the Brian Walsh trial, and then we'll continue to monitor all of our sources for information about everything happening in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay, let's go live into the courtroom at the Brian Walsh trial.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give in the cause now in hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You can be seated.
Right this way. Just watch your step.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury by stating your full name and spelling your name?
My name is Saman Salim, S-A-M-A-N. Last name is S-A-L-E-E-M.
And could you please tell us your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree from Boston College in biochemistry and a master's of science in forensic science from Boston University.
And what is your occupation, ma'am?
I currently work as a forensic scientist 3 at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab within the DNA unit.
And what is a forensic scientist 3?
A forensic scientist 3 is a supervisory position within the DNA unit, where I manage other analysts, forensic scientist 1 and 2, that work within the DNA unit.
So how many people do you supervise?
I supervise 6 people currently.
And what are your responsibilities in supervising those people?
As a supervisor, I manage their caseload by assigning them cases to work on in the laboratory, as well as for interpretation of DNA profiles for evidence items that are submitted to the DNA unit. I also train them in the methodologies for DNA testing. For example, if there's any new hires in our laboratory, I would be part of their training program where I would teach them about the laboratory work that's conducted, as well as give them presentations on the theoretical background of DNA testing. In addition to that, I also work on my own cases, so where I'm assigned cases by my manager, and I do the interpretation of DNA testing on those cases and review the cases of other people and what they've worked on.
And how long have you been employed at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
I've been there approximately 10 years.
Do you have any specialized training to be a DNA analyst?
When I first began at the DNA unit 10 years ago, I went through an 8-month-long training program where I learned about the theoretical discipline of forensic DNA testing, as well as the practical application of it. I tested mock evidence samples in the laboratory to determine what those DNA profiles were and learned about how to do that testing. Additionally, since that training, every year we go through continuing education where we learn about new methodologies that we're adopting in the laboratory and also any kind of changes that are happening in the field of forensic DNA analysis.
So you said that you've had testing, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Have you had testing?
Yes.
And what kind of testing have you had?
So every time there's a new technology adopted or there's new training that I go through, at the end of that training, we do a competency test where we are tested on if we have understood that methodology by taking a written exam or oral exam as well as a practical exam in the laboratory. In addition to that, twice a year, we go through proficiency testing.
So have you passed the competency testing that you've taken?
Yes, I have.
And you said that twice a year you have proficiency testing. Who monitors that or provides that proficiency testing?
So the proficiency test samples are provided by an external agency, and those samples are tested in our laboratory as we would process any casework samples as well. And then the answers for those items of evidence, the DNA profiles we obtained, are submitted back to that external agency who will then grade us to ensure that we obtain the correct DNA profiles.
And have you passed that proficiency testing?
Yes, I've passed all the ones I've taken over the 10 years.
Thank you. Are you familiar with lab case 23-00596?
Yes, I am.
And what type of DNA testing was conducted in this case?
In this case, we conducted a type of testing known as STR DNA testing, which follows a 4-step process in the laboratory, at the end of which we obtain a DNA profile.
Okay. So just generally, can you discuss that 4-step process?
Generally, that 4-step process starts with extraction in the first step, where we break open the cells in which the DNA is found. This is similar to like cracking open an egg, where the DNA is found within the yolk of it, and we extract that DNA. We use heat and chemicals to do this. The second step is known as quantitation, where we determine how much DNA is present in that sample so that we can proceed with the next step. The next step is known as amplification. In that third step, we make millions and millions of copies of the DNA that is found there, targeting certain locations within the DNA. In this case, we target 26 locations that are found throughout the chromosome, as well as a sex determining locus as well. And then the last step is capillary electrophoresis. During that step, we analyze those copies of DNA to generate a DNA profile, which can then be interpreted for comparison purposes.
And then once the raw data is generated, you said that you're able to make some comparison here?
Yes.
And how is that done generally?
So generally, the first thing we would do is interpret the DNA profile, which means that we would observe that DNA profile to see what is in that DNA profile. So what are the different characteristics of the DNA that we're observing at these 26 locations that we have tested? We will determine how many individuals are in this mixture, so the number of people that make up this DNA profile. Is it coming from one person or multiple individuals? And then That profile, once we've determined what it is, we can compare it to a known standard or somebody whose DNA profile we know to see if they would be included in that sample or excluded from it.
And in this case, 23-00596, there were many items that were tested by multiple people in the lab for DNA testing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And all of those people did the four-step process. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what was your role here?
At the end of that four-step process, data is generated on a computer. At the end of that process, my role comes in at that point where I look at that data. So it comes off in a form that we have to interpret using a software program. So that's where my role starts, where I interpret that data.
So I'm now going to start to ask you about what you did here and about each individual piece of data that you looked at with each individual item that you looked at. Is that okay?
That's okay.
So let's start with the first round of testing and the first items that you looked at. I want to ask you about item 9-27.2.1. What is that item, ma'am?
Do you mind if I look at my notes?
You may look at your notes.
Thank you. That is a sample of an interior of dark gray slippers found in bag number 4 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
This DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, including male DNA.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walsh?
Yes. The DNA profile from this item is at least 270 million times more likely if it originated from Anna Walsh and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown, unrelated individuals. This provides support for an inclusion of Anna Walsh to this profile.
So what does that mean?
So the statistic we report is known as a likelihood ratio. The first part of this is determining what the DNA profile is. In this case, the DNA profile is a mixture of 3 contributors, meaning that the profile that was observed on this item came from 3 individuals. In this profile, when we do a comparison, we compare the characteristics at each of these 26 locations to see if the profile that is Anna Walsh's profile matches those or is consistent with the ones that are observed in the DNA profile. And what we, through the statistical analysis.
Okay, we know we didn't spend much time with the Brian Walsh trial there, and we just did full press conference and an update on North Forsyth High School in Winston-Salem, but we want to give another update. We want to continue checking in on this story as we go. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office said that a fight between 2 students at North Forsyth High School led to a stabbing that resulted in 1 person's death. The incident happened around 11 a.m. The school was placed on lockdown. The school resource officer called for additional help, and according to the Sheriff's Office, law enforcement and the school district have communicated with families. The district will continue to share updates directly with parents. Other than that, all we can go off of is the information we got from the press conference. Let's see, they are working to confirm the correct staging location for parents. But that is the main update. So we'll just go through that one more time very quickly here. We know that we're staying on this story, but it is devastating. It is a tragedy in Winston-Salem, North Carolina today. A fight between 2 students at North Forsyth High School led to a stabbing that resulted in 1 person's death. The incident happened around 11 a.m. The school was placed on lockdown. We also know from that press conference that we listened to that the school will be closed to students tomorrow. And that there was comments from officials around a video, and they stated that liking that video, commenting on that video, using that video in any way to clout chase is extremely insensitive at this time. So that is what we got from the press conference, and then we have our reporting here now as well. So a really tragic day at North Forsyth High School. I think maybe what we can do, Naya, is could we pull that school up on the map so that we can get a sense of where that is? I mean, we certainly have portions of North Carolina that are in our viewing area. I don't know that it extends necessarily all the way down to this area, but no, this area is in more of the western part of the state, as we can see from this map here. Not too far, it's in the northern part of the state. It's not too far from the Virginia border, but it is more on the western side of the state, west of Durham, still east of Charlotte, northeast of Charlotte. But could we zoom in a little closer, Nia? Let's see what else. Oh, it's not far at all from Greensboro, North Carolina. That actually is a major city that is quite close by. You see High Point down there, and then of course you see Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem, of course, is the city that is the county that school is located in. So zoom back out for me very briefly, Naya. So Winston-Salem, and then over to the right, if we could just move this map just a little bit over to the right here so we can get a sense. Keep going if you don't mind, Naya, over to the right. You can even zoom out a little bit again if you want. I just want to kind of continue. Yeah, there's Greensboro. So just right in that Greensboro, Winston-Salem area, and not far from High Point. And then, okay, let's go. We can zoom back in now. I apologize for directing you so much. I was trying to get a sense of where this is here. And there's North Forsyth High School right there, the school where this happened. It's right on the back of a country club, just above it. And there's a hotel up there as well. And there's a soccer complex over to the left. Just, obviously a lot of things you would kind of group in with, high school kids and their needs and their wants. And there's North Forsyth High School right there. Okay, so we wanted to get a look at the location here. We wanted to see exactly where we were located with this school, and just do anything we can to give you information on this situation that is unquestionably tragic. And Winston-Salem is actually where Wake Forest University is located, and then obviously Greensboro right down the road, where they've held, I know that Greensboro sticks out for they've held a number of major events, especially sporting events in Greensboro. So a couple of kind of notable cities and counties nearby to North Forsyth High School, where that community is obviously going through an incredibly tragic day, as a fight between two students has led to a stabbing that resulted in a death around 11 a.m. this morning at North Forsyth High School. Now it's 2:28 p.m. Naya. I almost wonder if we play that press conference again. We did already watch most of it. We didn't see the very beginning of that press conference, but we did watch most of it. However, this is the breaking news of the day, and we're trying to use all the resources we can to make sure that we cover all of our bases for anyone who may be just tuning in, who saw the breaking news and so has tuned in to Live Impact to see if they can find more information. I do wonder if maybe we play that press conference again. We apologize to any viewers who have been here with us for the long haul and watched the entirety of that press conference already. But we did not see the beginning. So let's at least play the beginning portion of that press conference that we weren't able to run here on Live Impact. What do you think? Okay, it is downloading right now, so we will get to that in just a brief moment. Again, on your screen, the map of North Forsyth High School, where this stabbing death did occur earlier today. It is in Winston-Salem, which is just over near Greensboro and is in the northwestern part of the state of North Carolina, close-ish to the Virginia border, not particularly close to Hampton Roads. And we may have to fast forward this just a bit here, Naya, because I think we started recording before the press conference had begun. Okay, there we go, not too far. All right, we're going to play this press conference from the beginning. We did not catch it right at the beginning as we were monitoring other events. So we're going to continue our coverage of this breaking news story here. of the fatal stabbing at North Forsyth High School this morning. And we're going to do so by listening to a press conference where we already heard a vast majority of it, but we didn't hear the beginning. So let's listen in again. We want to make sure that we cover every basis of this and that we keep any new viewers updated on a tragic breaking news situation in North Carolina. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to ask you all to pray for the families, pray for the community.
Vamos a creer que oremos para la familia.
It's truly another sad day in Forsyth County.
Es un día muy malo para el condado de Forsyth.
At approximately 11:04 a.m. this morning, our SRO sent out a communication
Aproximada a las 11:04 de la mañana, los oficiales mandaron un anuncio
that he needed all hands on deck. We responded to North Forsyth High School.
que necesitaban
Upon
toda
arrival,
la ayuda
we responded to an altercation between two students.
en North Forsyth, la escuela, entre una
During
pelea
this-
entre dos estudiantes.
During this occasion, the altercation, there was a loss of life.
En esta pelea hubo una muerte entre
What I
los
would tell
dos
you is
estudiantes.
that the families of the people involved have been notified. What I would tell you is that there is no danger to the community. What I would tell you is that Winston-Salem Police Department, City of Winston-Salem, Emergency Management, the school system, we're praying with the family, for the family, to bring resolution. I know you have a lot of questions. What I would tell you is that it's an ongoing investigation. What I can tell you is what this community needs now is prayer. I need your prayers. The principal needs your prayer. The community needs your prayer. We need prayer right now. That's what we need. I'm going to pause for a moment and bring Chief Penn to the podium to share a few words.
It's a dark day for our city. Events like this have shaken us to our very core. The Winston-Salem Police Department is an assisting agency in its investigation. Much like the Sheriff's Office and the school system, we're committed to identifying what occurred. What I would also say, and please by no means read more into this than what I'm saying, is that as a community, we're going to have to absolutely work together to stop senseless violence, period. I'd also like to say that whoever's sharing this video, liking this video, commenting on this video, please think about the insensitive nature of what you're doing. This isn't the time to clout chase. Our students, our teachers, all the staff at North Forsyth High School will need all of us. So as a community, again, I beg of us to come together to put an end to senseless violence. And at this time, I'm going to turn the podium over to Dr. Phipps.
I want to start by saying that our thoughts and prayers are with our students, staff, and family. When something like this happens, it impacts everyone involved, and that's certainly where our thoughts and prayers are. I want to express my sincere appreciation to local law enforcement and medical first responders for their quick responses and thorough work today. I also want to thank school faculty and staff members for their quick, responsive action. Today is a worst nightmare of any educator. We hurt when our students hurt, and this is the ultimate hurt that we can possibly feel. North Forsyth High School will be closed for students tomorrow. We will have a crisis team in place to meet with faculty and staff, and will extend those services to students upon their return. If immediate student needs arise, we encourage parents and guardians to look to the school's website for resources. As you've heard already, we covet your prayers, and certainly for all those involved.
I know there's a lot of questions that you probably have, but here's what I'm going to say as we close. It's an ongoing investigation. What the family needs now is your prayers. I just left the family. They need your prayers. The governor sends his prayers and condolences. He reached out. But I need prayers from the community. I need prayers from everybody. The school needs your prayer. The principal needs your prayer. The students. So what I'm asking you all to do in this community is that let's take a day of reflection and see where we are. Let's talk to our children, because our children need us now. The future is in need of us right now. All of us have been crying all morning. We have. I won't be answering any questions right now. I won't. They won't, because it's an ongoing investigation. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions. But as soon as we bring closure, what I will tell you is we will push the information out to you, as we've always been transparent. What I will tell you right now is that we have some work to do. Not just work with this, but we have some work to do in our community. I love you all. Again, my condolences and prayers to the family and all those involved, the students that have witnessed this. And again, I thank you for your time. At this time, we'll be concluding this press conference. Thank you all.
How many people were killed?
As I said, I would love to entertain your questions. I think I stated at the beginning there was a loss of life of one. And that's all I'm going to give you. There was a loss of life of one. Thank you.
All right, so there's that press conference once again, and we're back here in the live Impact News studio. So a tragic day in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at North Forsyth High School as a student fatally stabbed after a fight between two students. Or excuse me, we don't know that it was a student. We know that one person has passed away from this stabbing, one loss of life, but that a fight between two students led to a stabbing that resulted in one person's death. That is what we know so far. So I want to make sure that I restate that. The incident happened around 11 a.m. The school was placed on lockdown. So again, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office said Tuesday a fight between two students at North Forsyth High School led to a stabbing that resulted in one person's death. I want to be very clear about that. That is what we know at this point in time. And of course, we'll continue to bring you updates as we get them. This is a developing story. As you heard from the gentleman there, they've got work to do, not just in the investigation, but in the community. So as any updates come our way, we'll make sure to bring them to you. Okay, let's go back to some of our live events here. We have a gaggle of representatives speaking at the Capitol building, including John Thune, up at the podium right now as we speak. So why don't we listen in on that as various elected officials speak in Washington, D.C., a number of issues at the forefront right now. Let's listen in on the one that they happen to be touching on as we progress through the final section here of Live Impact News.
On these Venezuelan boat strikes, a number of your members this morning said they would support releasing the video of that September 2nd strike. publicly. Would you personally support that?
Well, I'm happy with what they are doing. I think they are, the relevant committees, as I've said before, the Armed Services Committee, both Democrats and Republicans have had an opportunity to view that video. How they decide to proceed with it, I'll leave to their, to their discretion. But I think anybody who probably wants to, any member who wants to see that, I suspect probably would have that opportunity if they choose to.
Given the uncertainty of the tariffs with the Supreme Court decision potentially overturning them, does it make sense for the president to turn to those tariffs, that tariff revenue, to pay for farm aid? And tariff revenue goes into the federal treasury. Isn't it the Congress's power to spend that tariff revenue as it sees fit?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who've been following farm policy for a long time, which I have, I've been through 4 farm bills. The one we're working on right now that got derailed, but we got a lot of it included in the reconciliation bill last summer, would have been my 5th. And throughout the years, there have been attempts, and obviously this is the most recent one, to deal with tremendous losses that are being experienced in the agricultural marketplace, in this case because of a loss of markets. And that is related to some of the trade issues that we're dealing with. The president's obviously trying to get the attention of the Chinese, get us into a better place in terms of reciprocity with them. But in the meantime, it has an impact on the markets that a lot of our agricultural producers have access to. So to me, it makes all the sense in the world that if you've got a lot of revenue coming in from tariffs, and you need sort of a bridge for farmers. A lot of the changes that we made in last summer in the reconciliation bill don't take effect until next year, and the farmers, the safety net programs, will benefit from those. In the meantime, to have something that helps them bridge that time when they've had this loss of markets and are experiencing historically low commodity prices and historically high input prices. The margins in agriculture are gone. And I say that for corn and soybeans, other commodities, but those two in particular are where we've seen a real impact. And I think the administration's trying to respond to that and ensure that the farmers get to a time where we have that market is opening up again, China's opening up again. So hopefully this will be a bridge to the future. But I think what the administration did in terms of using tariff revenue to do that makes sense.
Just on the Venezuela boat strike again. I know you say that all your members have access to that video, but they're coming out with a dramatically different interpretation of that video. Isn't that one of the reasons for the administration to be transparent and release the video for all Americans to see?
Well, look, I think, again, I think that the relevant committees here on Capitol Hill, that has been made available to them. And I'm going to leave it up to them to decide who has access to it. But as I said before, I think any member of Congress, and certainly people are going to come up with different interpretations because we live in a political environment. And but I suspect that anybody who has seen it knows pretty clearly what the facts are. And I'll leave it at that. I think that the relevant committees will make decisions about who has access to it.
Back on healthcare, does Cassidy Crapo have unanimous support in your conference? And some of your members have also put forth temporary 2-year extensions of the ACA with changes with hide language with other reforms. Might those come to a vote as well?
Well, we have other members, as you point out, who have their own proposals, and they, you have to ask them how they want to have those dealt with. But I suspect you may see others advanced, other ideas advanced, and whether or not those get voted on, I think is going to be probably up to some of our colleagues who are offering those proposals. What I can tell you is, as a conference, our members, and I can't say 100%, but I think for the most part, I would argue are united behind the Crapo-Cassidy proposal, which, as I said, in terms of its emphasis, is about patients, not insurance companies, and about lowering premiums, not increasing them, and about getting a better return for the federal taxpayer. Thank you all.
Okay, so there you heard from Majority Leader of the United States Senate, John Thune, and others speaking about a number of different topics. Really the two topics that were focused on in the brief time that we were there for that kind of press conference on Capitol Hill were the aid, the billions of dollars of aid that is going to be headed towards farmers who have suffered from the United States-China trade war, farmers who are producing certain types of crops that maybe they've lost their market for those crops due to the U.S.-China trade war, due to tariffs that have been imposed. Now, he said that using tariff revenue for bridge aid for those farmers makes sense, that provisions that maybe have been made that will assist farmers in the future have not kicked in yet. And he also noted how margins in agriculture are gone. So a number of different sort of thoughts on that situation from John Thune there. They also talked about the strikes on Venezuelan vessels that have been happening in the Caribbean, particularly one incident where a boat was struck a second time, allegedly killing the survivors on that boat. That has been a major headline for some time here, and it continues to be, as you can tell from comments that were made there by John Thune, comments that continue to come out of the White House. Still a major story here as they try to continue to figure out what exactly happened in that situation. Okay, let's go back live out to Brian Walsh. The Brian Walsh trial still live. We haven't spent much time with that trial today. We're going to go out there live now, 2:45 p.m. We still don't have any further updates at this time on the stabbing that occurred at North Forsyth High School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a stabbing that resulted in one person's death after a fight between two students at North Forsyth High School. Happened around 11 a.m. today. We don't have any further updates on that. So let's go live out to the Brian Walsh trial right now as we kind of stare down the end of our stream here.
And what is an octillion?
An octillion is 1 followed by 27 zeros.
And you said that you were able to provide support for Anna Walsh, but were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walsh?
Brian Walsh is excluded from the first contributor that's suitable for comparison in this DNA profile.
So what does that mean?
So since it's a mixture of two contributors and I can only compare one of the two, that one contributor, the DNA profile shows that it's the likelihood ratio shows support for inclusion of Anna Walsh to this profile, but Brian Walsh is excluded from that suitable for comparison first contributor in this profile.
What was item 9-20.1?
That was sample from stain A on tape with apparent gauze with red-brown stains on it, found in bag number 2 at 300 Forest Street.
And what was the DNA profile result for this item?
There was a male DNA profile obtained on this item originating from a single contributor.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Anna Walsh?
Anna Walsh was excluded from this DNA profile.
And were you able to come to a conclusion about the comparison to the known profile of Brian Walsh?
The DNA profile is at least 23 octillion times more likely if it originated from Brian Walsh than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual, and this provides support that Brian Walsh is included as a contributor to this DNA profile.
And what is an octillion?
An octillion is 1 followed by 27 zeros.
I might have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes. Cross.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think you said it in your in some of your answers in regards to the first round of testing that you testified to. And was that testing
Was the report issued on January 13th of 2023?
Yes, that's correct.
And in the context of some of your answers to the testing results that you told this jury about, for instance, sample 9-27.2.1 at paragraph 1 on page 2, you indicate that it was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors.
That's correct.
Now, as you were explaining that and some of the other conclusions and the results of testing, you used the phrase at least 3 people, correct?
That's correct.
So when you write this report and you include the phrase the DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, it's more accurate to say the DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of at least 3 contributors?
No, when we are doing our testing, we are using the information that we have in our profile. And in order to do any comparison analysis or further any kind of interpretation on it, we have to determine the number of contributors. So in this case, the data that I observed showed that there was 3 individuals in this. There could be more, but it's not in the data that I observed.
There could be more, though.
Yes, obviously the instrumentation we use, there could be contributors that are there that are not detected, but the ones that I observed, the profile showed a mixture of 3 contributors, which is how I interpreted this profile.
And when you interpret the number of mixtures, like you just explained to the jury, am I right in saying that since we each inherit 1 allele from our father at a particular locus and 1 allele from our mother, then we typically have 2 different alleles at that one particular locus. Is that fair to say?
We could have 1 or 2 alleles at a locus, depends on if you inherit the same characteristic from both the mother and the father, or you inherit 2 different characteristics from the mother and the father.
And when you inherit the same allele, your father gives you the same allele as your mother, that would be a homozygote. That would be another way to frame that.
That's correct. That's a scientific term for that.
As opposed to 2 different alleles, your mother gave you 1 allele, your father gave you a different allele, then you'd be considered a heterozygote at that locus.
That's correct.
So what you're doing is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what you're doing is you're looking at all the alleles that you have in front of you on a particular sample, and you're trying to determine how many, and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to determine how many peaks you have at a particular locus. And for instance, if you had, 2...
Okay, so it sounds like they're diving into some of the evidence, some of the DNA evidence, talking pretty detailed there about some of that different types of evidence there in the Brian Walsh trial. What we're going to do now is go live out to Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, who has just stepped to the podium. We just heard from John Thune not long ago, the Senate Majority Leader. Let's go live out to Chuck Schumer now, out on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C.
EA included a provision requiring the Pentagon to hand the tapes over. If they don't, Pete Hegseth's travel budget gets slashed 25%. And this proposal had the support of Democrats and Republicans, including Wicker, including Republicans in the House and Senate. It shows you that both parties are united that these videos ought to be released so the American people can see them. Congress is united in demanding transparency. I strongly support this provision, fought to keep it in the bill. Trump, Hegseth, Rubio must do the right thing. And they all must release the tapes and tell the American people the truth the people deserve to hear. Senator Wyden.
Thank you, Leader. So, unless the Senate and the House act this week, in a few days, millions of Americans are going to face a god-awful choice. Do they pay thousands more to keep my health care, or do I take the risk of going without? Democrats have offered a simple solution. Let's extend the tax credits without making changes at the 11th hour. After that, let's see where we can work together to make the healthcare system better. Late last night, Republicans in the Senate revealed their alternative. Increase insurance premiums by thousands of dollars and deductibles by thousands more, and give people a snake oil alternative, a savings account. And they don't even do anything about criminal penalties for fraudsters the way we do. I'm going to use two examples to illustrate how disconnected the Republican plan is from the reality that Americans face. First, imagine a woman nearing Medicare age who's battling breast cancer. She's going to have another round of chemo in January, so she needs to sign up by next week. Crumbs in a savings account are not going to do much for her. Maybe she'll find out as we go that we have a better alternative. We're also going to imagine a young couple planning to start a family next year. Giving birth costs thousands and thousands of dollars, and they want to be prepared with the right insurance plan. Looking at the current premiums for a plan that covers their hospital stay isn't going to do much for them. These are two examples of the kitchen table conversations that are happening right now as Americans sign up for insurance. The Republicans offer crumbs in terms of insurance company profiteering and snake oil. To make matters worse, their proposal is riddled with ideological trophies like anti-abortion language. It shows that once again, Republicans weren't interested in compromise. Later this week, Americans will have the opportunity to see whose side senators are on.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. It might be helpful just to take this conversation out of Washington and invite you down to Georgia, where I'm hearing from constituents every day what this is going to mean for them right now. I heard just a few days ago from one of my constituents, a single mother with 4 children who gets her insurance through the Affordable Care Act exchange. And her medication costs $20,000 per dose. She needs 4 doses per year. Her premiums are about to go up by 500%. I heard from another constituent a few days ago, a woman in her early 60s who waits tables for a living, who's fighting breast cancer. She needs chemo monthly. Her premiums are now going to be $500 per month. She can't afford it. She's going to have to give up her insurance in the middle of chemotherapy while she's fighting breast cancer. What are people supposed to do when they lose health insurance in the middle of a cancer battle? What are parents supposed to do who already can't make ends meet, who are going to see their premiums go up 500% when they need life-saving medicine that without insurance costs $80,000 per year? So in this building, maybe it's about the politics, but in the real world and in Georgia, this is life or death. 500,000 Georgians are projected to lose their insurance altogether. Millions more will see huge increases in their health insurance premiums. My constituents cannot afford this. Some of my constituents cannot survive this. And so I'm calling on our Republican colleagues to put politics aside. It is almost Christmas. It's almost the holiday season. We should let our care and concern and goodwill for our constituents motivate us and guide us in these next few days. There's an opportunity on Thursday to come together and prove to the American people that no matter how divided we seem, we can unite to prevent these catastrophic increases in health insurance premiums. Thank you all.
So as a part of the ongoing Jedi mind trick from this president, he this week made the absolutely incredible statement that the affordability crisis that Americans are feeling at their tables every single day is a part of a Democratic hoax. I can tell you what the true hoax is. It's a scam.
All right, back in the Live Impact studio after hearing from representatives there on Capitol Hill, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. And that took us right up to the end. We've only got a couple seconds left here at Live Impact News, so we'll just say have a great day, everybody. We hope to see you tomorrow.